works there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to talk about why does every workout system seem to work and why does it matter? Before I get into that topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, so this is an important question. I'm going to go over why every workout system seems to work and what it can teach you when you're analyzing a coach, a science guy, or just some general bro that's, spouting his opinion about lifting. Now, let me backtrack a little bit. For those of you guys that are unaware, I've been involved with lifting for 38 years. I picked it up at age 18. I love lift, right? I love lifting. And I also love math. So during this time, one of my big passions is analyzing workout systems. One thing I learned very, very early on is that nearly everything works. If you look at the body of work in lifting, whether it's powerlifting or muscle building or whatever, you see all these different kinds of workout systems. You see, the Mike Mentzer, Dorian Yates style. You see the higher volume style. You see the German volume training. You see body part splits. You see full body. There's so many debates over which is better, but the reality is when we dig deep, we see that when we look at the history of lifting over the last 70 years, we realize it all works. It all works. And all these discussions are a little bit neurotic at times. They're a little bit overbaked, right? So one thing I discovered early on is just that point, that everything seems to work. So when I started analyzing workouts, when I started to study them, and I'm not a scientist, but I've spent my life, I've dedicated my life at analyzing workout systems and analyzing why they work and analyzing what works best and what works best in the real world because I coach. One thing I knew I knew was a requirement is if everything works, instead of trying to analyze all the little minor aspects of a specific workout, like, this one might have supersets, and this one might have rest pause, and this one might have volume, and this one might have everything training to failure. Instead of looking at the smaller pieces, we realize we need to look at the big picture. What are the commonalities between all these workouts that are providing a platform that allow everything to work, okay? Because if you get into all these discussions on rest pause workouts or superset workouts or drop set workouts or pyramids or reverse pyramids, all the different pieces and parts that you can build a workout with, you miss the bigger picture, okay? You miss the bigger picture. Why do they all work? Why do they all work? Now, the cornerstone of my book, Massive Iron, and Massive Iron is, 7 to 8 years old, and I'm going to be updating this. So, I have a lot more to say, and you can find my book over at superlivingtoday.com if you haven't seen it. But what I did was I looked at all the pillars that created success across all these different workout programs. And what I realized is if you have all these pillars in place, it doesn't really matter what workout system you're using because these pillars will drive success regardless of the workout system that's used. So what are these pillars and why does it matter? It matters because once you learn these pillars, you can relax. You don't need to obsess about which workout is better, which training frequency is better. Are drop sets better than supersets? Or high volume better than rest pause? You can relax and allow yourself to do whatever the fuck you want to do in the gym as long as it's reasonable and falls within these pillars of success. You can take a deep breath. You can stand back from all the crazy debates on the internet and you can realize you can finally admit all these systems work. All these systems work because it doesn't matter the specific pieces or parts as long as they are reasonable and play by a certain set of rules. So what are these rules? What are the pillars of success? Well, number one is consistency. You have to be consistent over a long period of time. And this seems like an obvious thing to say, but I've been in this game a long time, and I see guys that'll go hard for 3 months, 6 months, and then they'll stop for 2 months, and then they'll spend another 2 or 3 months getting back up to speed. They're always playing this accordion game where they train hard for 3 to 6 months, and then they stop training. So consistency. The guys that are successful train consistently for a long period of time. Number 2, they are patient. Okay, they're patient. They understand that you can't just have rapid gains. You might have rapid newbie gains, but the guys that do this for a long period of time, they're patient, and they love lifting, right? So you have to be patient. You have to let things come to you over time. You can't rush the process. Understanding that you can't rush the process and basing what you do in the gym off passion is a big part. So you have consistency and you have patience. What are some other pillars that are very, very important? Well, you need a reasonable exercise selection. You can't just, what's a reasonable exercise selection? Well, it's kind of a hard thing to quantify in a video, but you kind of know it when you know what's a bad exercise selection when you see it. What's a reasonable exercise selection? Well, we focus on, let's say for chest, we're focusing on a barbell variation, a dumbbell variation, a machine chest press variation, a pec deck variation, maybe a dip variation. That's reasonable. That's challenging, right? As opposed to some gym douchebag that's doing bench singles and then maybe a few pec decks and front lateral raises and lat pull downs, you know. So when you look at all of these workouts that are successful and all the lifters that have been successful over the course of the last 70 years, what are the big exercises that most of them are relying on? A reasonable exercise selection. You can't avoid the hard hitters. You can't avoid things with a big progression opportunity. So a reasonable exercise selection, okay? What else do you need? You need a reasonable amount of volume, okay? You need a reasonable amount of quality volume. So what is quality volume? It's not just doing junk volume, 10 sets of an exercise or 5 sets of an exercise where none of that work is pushed harder than last time. We're going to talk about progressive overload next, but quality volume will be founded on progressive overload. So you need a reasonable amount of quality volume. Generally, I start my major body parts. And major it's just a classification. It's arbitrary. Back, quads, chest, and shoulders, around 12 sets. And minor, smaller body parts, biceps, triceps, hamstrings, whatever, around 6, maybe upwards of 8. That's where I start them at. Okay, what this does by structuring this and structuring the sets in this way is it allows you to get in 4 quality workouts over the course of a week and about 72 quality sets. So where you start, it doesn't matter. Okay, but you don't want to go extreme. Trying to do 30 sets per body part because a lot of that's probably going to be junk volume. And you don't want to try to seek the minimum. So start with a reasonable amount of volume, and then you can evolve things over time. Now, what's another pillar of success? Progressive overload. Now, this is something everybody's been talking about lately. And when it comes to strength, right? Strength standards and does strength build muscle, all that kind of stuff. What you need to focus on is, for muscle building, is progression, doing more than you did last time. I never focused on how strong I could get. I focused on trying to improve myself over last time. So if I did 135 by 6 on bench when I was a noob, I try to get 135 by 7. Quality reps, quality progression. I focused on progression or improving over last time, and I didn't focus on strength. So strength standards aside, to build a lot of muscle, you're going to need to get a lot stronger than you are now over time. But don't chase numbers, chase +1. So we have consistency, we have patience, we have a reasonable amount of volume, a reasonable exercise selection, we have progressive overload. Let's talk about nutrition. This is an area where so many people drop the ball. You need to have nutrition that allows you to build muscle. You need to have consistent nutrition, consistent protein intake, It can't be all over the place. You can't just not watch the scale. You're going to have to align your nutrition and your bulking to something that is going to facilitate muscle building. Fat bulks, we all know about fat bulks, and people going into the fat bulk world and making big mistakes. And some of you fear bulking, rightly so, because you probably blobbed out. But your nutrition needs to be taken seriously. It needs to be taken seriously. And if you're working hard in the gym and you're not taking your nutrition seriously, you're not going to get the most out of your training. It's pretty much the same with sleep as well. You have to take your nutrition seriously. So when we look at all these programs that are successful, we see that just lay out whatever 10 programs you want, whatever 10 programs you've run or seen or whatever, 10 different programs by 10 different coaches. They are all working because the lifter is consistent, the lifter is patient, the lifter has good nutrition, the lifter has a pretty reasonable exercise selection, the lifter has a reasonable amount of volume, and the lifter is pushing for progressive overload. You got all these basic pillars in place, and these are the pillars, these are the things that drive progress, not the specific workout itself. All the workouts have basically these same pillars, in place. Now, some workouts might have a little bit lower volume, some might have a little bit higher volume, but we're talking minor differences. There are other pillars of success. There are other pillars that are in place, that lead to there are other things that complicate the muscle building process. But basically, if you have these pillars in place, if you're consistent, you're patient, you have a good quality nutrition plan, you have a reasonable volume, a reasonable exercise selection, and you have progressive overload in place, and you apply this over a long period of time, any system is going to work. And again, these are the pillars of success when it comes to building muscle. And there are more things involved in this, but these are the things you really need to focus on. And I know this is a long video, but why is this important? It's important because it helps you relax a little bit. It helps you frame things a little bit better when you see these heated workout debates and discussions. So if you want to pick a workout, don't fall into the trap of worrying about what anybody says. If all your pillars are in place, your nutrition's nailed, your consistency's nailed, and you have a reasonable exercise selection and a reasonable amount of volume, and you're pushing, using some form of progressive overload, you have a progressive overload plan or a plan to get +1s or a plan to improve over your previous workout, you're going to be fine on that workout system 99% of the time. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day.